What is happening, Big Brown Breakdown listeners? It is around noon, 12:20 to be exact, Tuesday, October 10th, on this lovely afternoon in Los Angeles, California. What is happening? It was a big weekend for the UFC and just everyone in general, I think, especially being in Vegas. Chin, I feel like, and we talked about this on Fine Kid, since you got a girl, you're acting all extra now. Like we were talking about coffee. I'm like, you like coffee? You're like, it's whatever to me, man.
It's whatever.
It's whatever. You just
I'll take
the
whatever.
cool kid in town now. No one.
I didn't get a girl. Just went on a date. That's it.
I know. You're just acting different, man.
Just saying.
It's just
He goes all fluffy.
he's acting all big time now. All big time. Yeah, I don't think we were talking before we went live that, I mean, none of you guys are big coffee people.
I drink coffee every damn day.
Just one cup a morning?
No, I drink it at night too. I used to be.
I've never seen you drink coffee.
I'm drinking this because I don't pay for Starbucks. I drink our lobby coffee. I'm not bougie.
I mean, we cover your Starbucks
No big.
costs.
It's okay. It's not
So
a
you
big
go.
deal.
What do they have here? The pods?
The little pods.
I can't fucks with the pods.
It's terrible for the
I
environment.
don't like the pods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
They're
like
not
the guy.
strong.
You know, the guy who created those pods hates that he designed them because they're not recyclable. Like he wishes he never did it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Although he's Scrooge McDuck rich from him, but yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible for the environment.
And then you just never drink coffee, Jen.
I do, but I just don't care which ones I drink.
I've never seen you drink coffee.
I mean, I don't drink it when I'm
Australia,
here.
Dublin, never
Oh,
seen you
okay.
drink coffee.
That's true. Not when
just
we
don't mess
traveled, or did I? Maybe
I've
once or-
I've never once seen you drink coffee.
Maybe a
all the
couple
shows
times.
we've done, not once.
I've seen him drink coffee.
Yeah, see,
I've seen
there
you
go.
drink coffee.
Really?
Dude,
Yeah,
I have a
you're
coffee
tripping.
mug right here.
Oh, get that bullshit out of
Yeah,
here.
I know.
I used to drink a lot of like energy drinks because I worked at Supercross like dirt bike store and I drink like 3 Monsters a day.
Those are so bad for you.
So terrible. Like it was bad. I would sleep.
I used,
drinking after
yeah, I used to mess with energy drinks, and I stopped doing it. I was on the Ultimate Fight, and they had energy drinks everywhere, and I'd just take them nonstop. I would always drink coffee, but I was just drinking energy drinks. And then, like, I couldn't get excited for anything, for like any fights, anything, any big moments in my life. And the doctor's like, "Oh, well, how much caffeine are you taking? Are you taking any like crazy supplements?" And I'm like, not really. And she goes, well, how many like energy drinks do you drink? I'm like 4 or 5 a day. Then coffee. She's like, oh my God. You know, you're oversaturating your endorphin, like your receptors.
Frying
You're just,
everything.
So that's why you feel like shit.
You're probably peeing even more.
I haven't drank energy drink probably since
so
then,
shitty.
10 years.
Yeah, that's good. They're so shitty for you.
But Monster, holler at your boy. Wouldn't turn him down. But I just don't. My brother still mess with him. I know a lot of people mess with him. And actually, you know what? I had a diet. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I had a diet sugar-free Red Bull in Australia,
Ew.
and I was running in circles.
Oh.
Yeah, people do like to give like packs of Red Bulls at the shows too.
Yeah.
So for the fridge. So
I like NOS. That was my
Is
go-to.
that still a thing?
NOS drinks. They're so sugary. Oh my god.
oh, that's bad.
You get sugar high from that.
Because they don't really carry them at the store. Remember at the stores it used to be like it had its own energy drink section.
Yeah.
They're still around.
Not like they used to be though,
Not-
right? Because
no.
people were like, "Ew, didn't someone die from them?"
I think a lot of people died. Yeah.
Someone died, and they're like, you know what, we should probably chill out on this. Remember Zions? You're way too young for Zions.
Zions?
Yeah.
X is it starts with an X?
Yep.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Remember Tito's girl was the promo girl for them. Did
Oh,
the
I didn't know.
commercial?
Smoke show.
Yeah,
Some of the
they're
best
always hotties.
commercials of all time. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Zions. Yeah, and then they were in business with the UFC.
Yeah.
That's why you had Zions. And I think the UFC either owned part of it or it was weird.
Yeah, because they were on every commercial for the UFC. I remember.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
Choc was like a spokesperson sort of for it.
Yeah, they're in cahoots with the UFC, and I think the UFC owned part of the business, the company. Now the UFC, I know they signed deals with, I want to say Tecate, and the energy drink in 2018 is going to be Kobe Bryant's energy drink.
What?
Well,
Yeah. Yep. No more. I don't know what it. I think it's Monster now, right? But I think the official energy drink moving forward is going to be Kobe Bryant's energy drink.
that's cool.
Almost positive. I don't think I'm breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Most positive, but yeah. Other than that, man, I got the link to that retrospective show that's going to be on the Fight Network. I think it comes out tomorrow night. So it's on the Fight Network, which is big in Canada, right? It's available all over in Canada. Yeah. And then, but how the hell are my American peeps going to see it? Or my peeps in England, Australia, Dublin, you know?
Digital?
I think so. Yeah, I think hopefully they release it on YouTube. They sent me the sneak peek. It's 2 parts. Airs tomorrow night. You have to look at Fight Network, especially in Canada. It's going to be available on your demand or what the hell you guys do up there. Shout out to Canada. But yeah, it's interesting with this retrospective thing. My publicist set it up when I was on tour in Toronto. Mm-hmm. And so I had my live comedy show there, and then the next morning we went there. You were with me, right, Chin?
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, you were with me.
We went everywhere. I remember, yeah.
We were all over in Canada. Yeah. All over. Yeah, you went with me there, and it's weird because when you do these things, you never know. Like, so I don't see 95% of the interviews I do. Who watches their own interviews? But a thing like this, they go, we're just going to sit down, and we're just going to talk about your career. And it's weird because usually when I'm asked to do that, I usually get super tense about it. I'm like, oh, God damn it. For whatever reason, it's like it's heavy. It's heavy. I don't know. You know, I've always thought of my career. And I'm super grateful. I'm going to get to the point I'm trying to make here, but I don't know. I would always get a little heavy. So I sit down with this gentleman and I do this interview. It's probably, we're there for at least an hour. And it's just a conversation. And that's the best way to do an interview. It's a straight up conversation. And we're going through all the steps of my career from the beginning, going to where we're at now. And I didn't think much of it. I get done with it. I thought it was, it was cool, whatever. And then they sent me these pieces, and I talked to the guy this morning. I said, man, out of anyone that's ever asked me to do anything as far as interviews, especially as far as my fight career goes, this is the best I've ever seen. Nice. Because remember, it's Fight Network, so they're in cahoots with the UFC, so they have all access to the footage from my Ultimate Fighter days, my first fight in the UFC, my second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. They have all that stuff, so they can intertwine that in with the interview as I'm talking. And usually, you can't do that if you're talking to someone else. They can't have that those rights. Yep. These guys do. They did. I told them it's the best job I've ever seen as far as my fight career goes. Yeah. And it was interesting because when I don't really, I'll reference some of my old fight stuff or like training or something like that. But then when you go back and look at it all, like, I think the reason why it's so heavy, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I just saw this thing this morning. But I think the reason why it was so heavy for me all the time is because think if I'm trying to relate to you guys. So let's say you wanted to go to college, right? You went to elementary school, middle school, high school, and your goal was always to get a college degree. And you got to your sophomore year in college and then flunked out. Like you never got that degree. And then for whatever reason, everyone around you knows that. Whether it's family, friends, their friends, wherever. If you go somewhere, people are pretty familiar with how you didn't succeed and get that college degree. So when people that maybe you don't know, they go, how about the college degree? How about Stanford? Didn't get that degree from Stanford. You're like, oh, God. And you do anything to change the subject. Well, for me, with fighting, the number one goal was to get the belt. Mm-hmm. When I was ranked in the top 15, top 10, you know how it felt? The exact same as being ranked number 2. Unless you were the champion, to me, you failed. So I viewed it as a failure. So, and that's with anything. With my college football career, we didn't win a national championship. I didn't win a Heisman. I viewed that. I wasn't a first-round draft pick, so I viewed that as a failure. NFL didn't make the top 52-man roster, where the hell they allow now, but 50-man roster, so I viewed it as a failure. So whenever anyone would talk about it, it was so heavy for me because I viewed it as such, in my eyes, a negative thing. Well, now, I retired in 2013, so almost 5 years later, here we are, and I watched this retrospective show, and for the first time, I was proud of what I did.
Nice.
For the first time in my life, yeah. It's cool, man. It was interesting. Very interesting. Because, like I said, the way you view it, because unless I think any of us, when we set out, Carwin, GSP, Rashad, Cody, Donovan, Elliot Marshall, Christian Allen, all of us were set on this mission, and everyone made it to the UFC or, to a high level. No one was like, I just want to be ranked in the top 15. I just want to be ranked in the top 10. I just want to be a face for the UFC. I don't think anyone, that was their goal on their chalkboard. It's world champ. So when mission wasn't complete, it was so heavy for me. So, and then I think now, because I'm a completely different lane, what I do, obviously I do a fight show, talk about fighting. My stand-up has a lot of fight references to it, but I think now just I'm in a different lane, so I can look back and I'm like, God, what are you doing, man? I'm a lot more, I guess, open to talking about and diving into it. And, with the Fighting the Kid, when I was in the middle of fighting, and we started the Fighting the Kid podcast with Brian, I told him I'm not going to just talk about fighting. I refuse to talk about fighting. It's just because I just didn't want to do that, man. I always views it as a negative thing. Obviously now I'm balls deep in fighting. I talk about fighting nonstop, and people ask me at the gym about fighting. I'll talk their ear off for a half an hour. It's just different.
It's cool though, man.
Yeah. So it's part 2. I think part 1 plays tonight, and then part 2 I'm sure they'll post. And part 1's basically my career from The Ultimate Fighter, and they have all the highlights which I haven't seen in forever. The Ultimate Fighter days. Then they go through Chase Gormley, Chris Tusher, Gabriel Gonzaga, Crow Cop, and just everything that went on with all that, what I was thinking. And I think part 2 is more of life after fighting.
Sounds like
it's pretty cool, man. Yeah, they did a good job. It's literally after our show in Toronto the next morning. I think we were out late that night. I look like freaking... I look like Sam Smith before he was on a diet. My hair's all fucked
Puffy.
up. Yeah, I'm puffy as fuck. I think I ate like a full rack of ribs the night before or some shit. Yeah, we went to that.
Pizza, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they had the best chocolate chip cookie in the world. Remember that?
I don't think I ate it, but
You don't remember that? Remember sitting there outside and the guy goes, "You got it."
Crap! What am I saying? Okay, because we went to eat a few times.
Yeah.
Like right after
that first night.
Yeah, that was amazing.
My word, that's the best chocolate chip cookie I've had. He award winning.
That's a heavy statement.
No, I swear, no, he won the award, like straight up award. Like how like if you're in New York or even LA, best cup of coffee or best cookie in the world. Yeah. Nah, bitch, this dude has he entered a contest and won. I don't know what it is.
I remember everyone loved that cookie, and then I loved something else that we had, but it wasn't like the world. It was something,
something random.
Something else,
He's like, what?
And I just kept eating those. I forgot what it was.
You like the vanilla wafer or something
like that. Yeah.
This cookie, man. Next,
it was great though. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was like thick and gooey and chunky with chocolate. I've never seen some shit like this. Because when people were like. Because we got done eating, and our friend knew the owner, and he's like, "You got to bring him your cookies. Like, the kitchen's closed." He's like, "You don't have any. Come on, man. He's here just for 2 nights. We can't come back tomorrow night." He's like, "Well, maybe some of the staff took some to bring home. Let me go check." And then he came out and he goes, "I have 2 fresh ones." I was like, "Yes." And I was kind of full. I'm a fat kid at heart. Yeah. When people say sweet tooth, I have sweet teeth. I have way more than one.
I bake cookies at least once a week. All my friends know that.
Well, what the fuck?
I swear to God, it's
bring them here.
It's like a de-stressor.
Are they homemade or do you get it from
I
King
half-ass
Soopers?
it half the time. Sometimes they're
you get the pre-pouch and then you just cut it up.
Okay,
those are still fresh.
60% of the time I do that. 60%.
It's a beast to do it yourself.
Wow. It's a lot. It was more just everything, clean up everything. I'd say more 65%.
I swear on my life, this cookie, man. I'm gonna text that my boy Joel. I'm going to ask him, but hopefully by the end of the show, because people in Toronto might be like, what the hell is going on?
You need that for your coffee debut.
No, my boy Joel Hoodno, I'm going to say, hey, what was the name of the place with the best cookie in the world?
Look at him go.
I'm telling you. I'm waiting for that new iPhone X to come out. Don't call it 10 either. ISIS calls it 10. It's iPhone X. Comes out November 3rd. I got it. I mean, it's time.
The 8 comes out this month, right?
It's already out.
Oh, it's already out.
Let me just look at my phone, people. Spider-Man edition. It's embarrassing, too. I'll be on some big meetings. I'm like, what was your email? And they're like, Oh, you can tell right away, like, oh, fuck, man.
Yep. You peasant.
Thought this guy's doing well. Leave me now. But either way, that chocolate chip, I don't know how we got started on it. You make cookies from scratch, though, MJ?
Like sometimes, though. Like when I have time, but not like a lot. That's
Anytime, you mean like all day. That's an all-day event.
It's an all-day thing, but I bake cookies at least like once a week. I like the smell. It's
and
like
you've never brought one in here.
I'm sorry. Well, like I haven't baked fresh ones in the past couple weeks, so I'll bake some.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
All right, I'll just fatten you guys up.
Oh, I announced it on my social media somewhat, but that Game of Thrones tea I was rocking yesterday, this isn't a sponsor. I don't work with Many Facet. Some fans sent me a link because I said I wish I had Game of Thrones gear, and they sent me a link to these T-shirts. It's the Adidas shirt it's a Game of Thrones shirt that looks like the Adidas signs. It's from moneylinetrees.com. I'm sorry, moneylinetees.com. I have no affiliation with them. I don't know what their customer service is like. My shirts came pretty quick. They don't pay me for any of this. I'm just so many people ask me about that shirt. But Moneyline Tees, I think it's at Moneyline Tees on Instagram. You can see all their Game of Thrones stuff. I guess they have like Game of Thrones Christmas sweaters coming out or some shit. I can't wear that at a Christmas party, for God's sakes. I look like an asshole with a Jon Snow sweatshirt on. I mean, no one's going to take me serious. Do I want one? Yeah. Am I going to wear it? Probably not.
You might wear it.
I might. I don't know. Yeah, man. Thursday, I'm leaving. Can't give you guys too many details. You know how it is in the business world, but might be launching my own coffee company. Balls deep in coffee. Taking a bunch of meetings, trying to pair up with the right people, the right company to do this, and I'm pretty excited about it. So Thursday, I fly out for the day, try and seal this deal so it could be something soon that would come out before the holidays. I've always wanted to do that.
So dope.
I've always wanted to
all
do
you
it.
ever talk about is coffee, so.
And all I ever do is rock coffee on stage, in studio. I love Starbucks, but I'm sick of you guys. You ungrateful bastards. I don't think Starbucks sponsors anybody or anything. Like, we're Starbucks, bitch.
Yeah.
We're
Star
Starbucks.
bitch.
Yeah, we're Starbucks. You're not going to do shit.
No.
You ever been to the real Starbucks? Like, not the real one. The original one in Seattle?
No.
Not
Oh, no,
impressive.
I did, yeah.
It's about the size of this room. There's not much going on. But there's that. Where were we? Was it Seattle or was it?
I haven't gone to Seattle with you
Might have been
guys.
Portland. There's a Starbucks. Might be Vancouver. It's either Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, somewhere northwest. It's the biggest Starbucks I've ever seen. They have like these huge tubes, like this filter system all through it. It's like the most intricate Starbucks you've ever seen. It's sick. Want to say coffee, $6 a cup though.
It's expensive.
Either you can get what you pay for, but yeah. Yeah, let's get to the UFC. So UFC, shut the fuck up about chocolate chip cookies and coffee because I'm hungry now. The UFC 216 was in Vegas, and I tweeted out I got a feeling tonight's gonna be amazing. Something special is gonna happen. And I thought Dana White's comments and thoughts before the pay per view were great. I thought them having the event was the right thing to do. In a horrible circumstance like you had last Sunday in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, 2 Sundays ago, right? I don't think you can just stop your life and stop what you're doing. I think you gotta, carry on and don't let this moron win. Because that's what he wants. So, I think it was the right choice to carry on and do UFC 216. I think it was probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest night to ever fight if you're one of these fighters, and it affected you. I know it definitely affected Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, a lot of these guys. It was a tough night for them to kind of zone everything out and go to work. So my hat's off to everyone who fought on the card at UFC 216. But what they did was a service that was their way of giving back. When I say prayers are great, and you post on social media, pray for Vegas, and however you deal with a event like this is great. But for these fighters, this is their way of giving back, entertaining and letting everyone escape from reality of this horrible event that happened in Las Vegas by putting on great fights. I thought, the prelims and as far that the fight pass, there's only 2 on there. You had your knockout, and then the prelims, not great. They weren't great at all. It's definitely not what you want leading in a pay-per-view. I'd be curious about the pay-per-view numbers, especially with everything going on. It was a Saturday. You compete with college football, but then you're also you're dealing with a heavy nation. So I think you take that into account no matter what these numbers look like. To kick off the pay-per-view with Dariush and Evan Dunham, I got to be honest. I like that there's more draws. I'd rather have a draw like with Ventana and Bobby Green. I didn't think that was a fight of the century. I know the commentators are going nuts over it, saying if you didn't see that, if you didn't see that, that's gonna be hard to beat. I thought it was all right fight. I did agree that it was a draw though. I thought Lando had it 10-8, and then Bobby Green took the second, third round, and that's a draw. So I don't have an issue at all with the draw. I have an issue with a judge feeling pressure to give a guy the fight, going, fuck, we better give someone the fight, because you're screwing somebody over. So you had a draw with Lando and Bobby, and then Dariush, Evan Dunham, a draw too, which I don't have a problem with. And if you watch Dariush's face when they announced that it was a draw, he goes, yeah. He's like, yeah. And then you got Dunham. I don't even mind if it is a draw running it back. Because such a good fight, such a close fight, you run it back to get an actual winner so the guys can move onwards or downwards with their career to make the next matchup. Because it's obviously a good fight, Because sometimes I think a lot of times, even with, Woodley and Wonderboy, I would give a lot of those a draw. We go, well, that one time Woodley did land that one punch. A lot of times, I think if there's a clear winner, you go, oh, fuck, this guy was doing this, then that guy was doing that. We could give it to him. Draw. And I think you're going to get less complaints. I really do. And then you run it back. Then because you're going to get a clear winner. You're not going to screw a guy over. Because if you're the champ or you're a contender and you're fighting for the title and you get screwed over because this judge views it this way, but this one views it this way, and then you got to go back to the line and get there to fight for a title, you're screwed. But if it's a draw, then no one really loses momentum, especially if it's a good fight. Now, I don't see Woodley and Wonderboy ever fight again. They're just bad dance partners. But I'm just saying, I could see both those being a draw. I think it would be better in the grand scheme of things than having a win or lose a lot of times. So when they went draw, I went, man, this reffing was great. The reffing was good too, but the judging was really, really good. Those draws, that shows you there's some educated judges usually. The women's fight, the first Italian female in the UFC gets the win. Shout out to her. But then, God, this broke my heart when you had Verdum and our boy Derek Lewis, when he backed out the day of the fight, hours before, and I saw that on social media, maybe Ariel's account, or I forget whose it was. Might have been John Anik. I was like, oh, what the brokenhearted. I was looking forward to that fight. Second most besides the main event, Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee. But I was like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he's had back issues. And, Derek Lewis isn't a guy who, would succumb to nerves or anxiety from a fight or anything like that. So I believe him 100%. For Walt Harris to step up and take that fight, good on him. Good on him. To me, it looked like he was just happy to be there. He didn't really risk anything. I think if you're in Walt Harris's shoes and you get a chance to fight a guy like Fabricio Verdum, who's number 2 in the world, or 1, I think they have him at 2 and Overeem number 1, since Overeem technically kind of beat him. I think if you're Walt Harris and you're in that situation, you're unranked, you're not even close to being ranked, you have some losses, some wins in the UFC, and you fight a guy like Fabricio Verdum on that short of notice, I think you have to balls to the wall, caution to the wind, try and murk and take his head off. Because we all know, my grandma knew, that if he went to the ground, Verdum was going to slice through him like warm butter. That's the way it goes. And in any other division, whether it's lightweight, flyweight, bantamweight, middleweight, whatever it is, if you're unranked and you have to fight the number 2 guy in the world, in any other division, there's obviously differences talent wise, but not that big of a gap. In heavyweight, the gap is freaking huge. You're talking completely different fighters, and you see it. That's exactly how that fight should go down, especially if you fight like Walt did. But, he got paid, didn't get injured. His arm, didn't look like it was in serious trouble when he tapped or anything like that, so no damage. And then he's fighting that Mark, what's his name? Godbeer in November now.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. Good win for Fabricio. It's pretty dope. He risked everything to beat Walt Harris. Granted, it was the easiest win of his career in a minute. So you have all submissions. The Italian girl submission. Then you get Fabricio Verdum submission, and then Demetrious Johnson, Ray Borg. Demetrious Johnson, Ray Borg. It didn't start. He submitted him. In the 5th round, 3 minutes left. Those first 4, it was just a straight beatdown. Mighty Mouse is so much better than everyone. He's so much better. Ray Borg's bigger. He's an amazing grappler. I told you guys, Ray Borg's an amazing grappler. But when you're an amazing grappler, that's not good enough to get it done against the best of all time grappler in the flyweight division. It's just not. When both guys are at a high level, if one guy's the best of all time and one guy's just great at it, Demetrious Johnson can beat you every time. I thought Ray Borg came to fight. He looked good. His game plan, I don't know how you can beat Demetrious Johnson if you're a flyweight. He's so much better than everyone. It's not even close. So then you go into the pound for pound talk. Well, let's just talk about a submission. First of all, that submission that he did was amazing. Amazing. And I get some flack when I went greatest submission of all time in the UFC. And you go, whoa, better than Frank Mir, Nogueira, better than the Korean Zombies Twister against Leonard Garcia. Now so if you want to just use those for example. So Korean Zombie against Leonard Garcia. That was not for a title fight. There was no pressure in that fight. It's Leonard Garcia. He might be a purple belt. I think a purple belt. It's also just another fight. There's no pressure there. There's nothing hanging over looming your head when you go for a twister against Leonard Garcia. Cool to see, but it's just not the same. It's also the talent level's not the same. It's also not to break the all-time record for most title defense of all time. Not only do you do it against a guy, Ray Borg, who's known as a grappler. And for him to do it that way, with that kind of out of nowhere in the 5th round, that's why to me it's the best submission of all time, because the repercussions, what was at stake, just everything that went into it. The fight was canceled before, then they're here. They went through 2 camps. He got all this flack from Dana White. He got all this flack for not taking the TJ fight. And is he going to break the record? Okay, here comes another boring small man decision. Here we go. Wrong. Boom. And that submission, I'm going to give Leister Bowling a shout out now, who he used to be the head coach at Muscle Farm. He was my head coach for many years when I fought in the UFC. He was a coach at University of Northern Colorado. He showed Amal Easton, myself, Elliot Marshall, and Nate Marquardt, I think, and Shane Carwin, that exact that exact submission from there to the armbar, where you pick him up to the armbar. I want to say 10 years ago, and we laughed at him. Yeah, we laughed at him. And we're like, no one's going to pull that off in a real fight. I think he was showing that against, we're getting ready for someone. We're like, what are you doing? Who the fuck's going to do that? And then Demetrious Johnson did. Right when that happened, I went, oh, I've seen that once, because I was watching with Todd Feldman, my brother, and my agent, and he goes, have you ever seen something like that? I went, I have. My coach a long time ago, Leister Bowling, used to talk about it all the time. He was in the jiu-jitsu guy, just wrestling. He's like, dude, I'm telling you, get him there. They go there. Like, yeah, all right, cool. What else you got? But that's why it's the best submission. Now, as far as pound for pound with Demetrious Johnson, he's pound for pound. If you can bring up a pound for pound list for me, Chin. So he's pound for pound for these reasons. Usually when you talk about pound for pound, especially in today's game, it go in any order you want to put in, but let's just list the guys. So you got Anderson Silva, John Jones, Mighty Mouse. Usually those 3, and George St. Pierre, right? So
let me do current.
Oh, you did all the time. You have to do yes, let's do ESPN. That's a legit source. Okay, so scroll or go up for me. I think they have the keep going, or does it not have the list there?
No.
All right.
So we'll just go through the list.
So this is ESPN's list. Let's go. So scroll up for me. So they go And before you go through this list, I'm just going to go from the top of my head. In any order you want to put them in, but this is usually somewhere in the argument. Jon Jones, Anderson Silva, Demetrious Johnson, Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, Stipe. I'm just going off the top of my head. Now let's look at ESPN's thing, and then I'll tell you why Demetrious number one. So they still have Jon Jones number one. Obviously, the verdict is still out on that. Okay. Then you have Demetrious Johnson number two. Okay. You have Conor McGregor. They haven't updated this because they don't have Demetrious win on there yet. They have Conor McGregor number three. TJ Dillashaw number four. That's interesting. How old is this? Because how can TJ Dillashaw be number four when he lost?
Let me look for a different list.
His last fight. But that's weird. It's pretty. That one's pretty current, man. Go to Sherdog pound for pound. You see it? Go down. And they've been around for fucking ever. They should have their stuff together.
There's an Odd Shark.
Go to Sherdog. Those guys know what they're talking about usually.
And this is from January, though. Let me check out this one real quick.
It doesn't matter. I mean, when you're checking out, I'll go through them. So, okay. So either way, it's DJ, Jon Jones, Conor, and Anderson Silva. Usually, and then you got DC, those guys floating around there. So Jon Jones is out. Jon Jones is out because of his outside the cage antics, PD assumptions, and we're still waiting for the verdict on that. So right now he's out. Mm-hmm. But if you take all those out of the cage, out of the ring kind of extracurricular activities and PD accusations, he's number one. There's no argument. He's number one by far with his body of work. The guys he's beat, the way he's beat them, the lack of training he did to beat them would prove he's pound for pound the best. Like, how crazy would it be if you found out Demetrious Johnson trained 2 weeks and did this Ray board? No, we know Demetrious Johnson's working his ass off. Jon Jones, I mean, there's some fights he barely trained and still beat the shit breaks off people. So Jon Jones is number one, but he's out. Mm-hmm. So take him out of the equation. All right, who's left? You want to say Anderson Silva's the best of all time, pound for pound, greatest fighter of all time? No, he tested hot. You're out. You're out. If you've ever tested hot, you're out of the pound for pound conversation because we don't know what you were like without him. We don't know. One thing we do know is DJ has never failed a test, has never done any of that, and he's so much better than the competition. He's just smoking everyone. If DJ's next fight, I don't know who it is. I don't want to see him fight anyone in the flyweight division. That does nothing for me, and that's what hurts him. And it's not his fault. But those guys are crazy talented. Usually those guys, 125 pounds, they have more skills and more talent than any other weight classes. The smaller they are, the more talent there is. But they're just not well-known names. So people go, oh, look at the competition. It's not really fair to say. You can say, let's look at the competition because you don't know who they are or you're not educated on the flyweight division. They're tough guys. They definitely should be there, and they've earned their way to be there. Henry Cejudo might be a different argument. He only had 6 fights when he fought him, but still, that's not Demetrious Johnson's fault, and he's finishing those guys. And that's why until Jon Jones did his stuff and Anderson Silva did his stuff, I never had Demetrious Johnson number one. I haven't. The reason he's number one is by default because these other two guys are morons. That's the only reason. I still stick by Demetrious Johnson as a 125-pound male fighter in the UFC. Doesn't have the same risk, doesn't have the same repercussions as the heavier weight classes. So when Demetrious Johnson goes in there, if he gets punched in the face, he's going to learn from it, adapt. That won't happen again, probably take him down. If Stipe goes in there and gets punched in the face by Overeem, Verdum, Mark Hunt, Francis Gano, the list goes on and on of these monsters, the night's over. So his margin of error is so much smaller. So the heavier the weight class, if they're more dominant, no matter what their resume looks like as far as who they fought, if they're heavier and they're dominant, I'm always going to rank them above the lighter weight class because of the risk and reward there. It's a different game. It's a completely different game. So for Demetrious Johnson, he's my number one. I stick by it with the smaller guys. You know, there's just the repercussions aren't the same. They're just not. So I think that's why they're not a draw. I think that's why people, you know, don't know the flyweight division as well as the other divisions. There's just, you know, but for Demetrious Johnson, he could stay at flyweight, and if he wants to, I don't know what he's planning to do. I don't think he's talked about it. I think he said in his post-fight interview he just wants to go get some rest and take a break, which, you know, he's missed another opportunity to market himself, but, you know, he's the greatest champion of all time, so he can do what the hell he wants to do. But, you know, if I'm Demetrious, I start thinking about setting myself up in my family up, because I think he has 3 kids, 2 or maybe 1 on the way, I forget, but he has a family. I would start, because he's not set. He's the most dominant champion of all time. He's not set financially. He's not making Scrooge McDuck money. He's not making fuck you money. He's not making Conor McGregor money, or, you know, even Tony Ferguson money. So, or Stipe money, or Max Holloway money, or John Jones money, or DC money, or Bisping money, Cody Garbrandt. He's not making the money those guys are making, and he's the greatest champion of all time. But they based a lot of that off what kind of demands there. That's just business. And so if I'm Mighty Mouse and I want to make that fuck you money, you're going to have to create some sort of hype around TJ versus Cody Garbrandt. And, you know, he's fought at that weight class before at 135. Those guys are big, man. Those guys are big. I wouldn't mind if they do the fight at 130 and they come down there. I'm sure at a catch weight. I wouldn't count DJ out against either of those guys. I think it's a great fight, but he's going to have to do something like that. He just is. He just is to get that big payday. It's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. You got to set yourself up for the next fight. You always have in the back of your mind, maybe not him, but someone in your team, your manager, something. After this win, and you were the biggest favorite in a title fight of all time, so probably should have had something in the back of your mind. But after this win, to kind of map your next shot out, which he doesn't do. So I think that's a lot of reason there's a debate on why he's not the best of all time, just because there's not the same hype around him as the other guys. He's never got that marketing down. And he kind of falls into the same thing. Not exactly. I get why there's hate on DC as far as, you know, we saw him lose to John Jones twice, although asterisk by both those. Mm-hmm. DC and Demetrious Johnson remind me a lot of each other, where they're good guys. They're great guys. They're good people. If you have kids and your kid wants to be a fighter, you'd point to the two of them that you'd want them to mimic how to act inside and outside the octagon. But for whatever reason, they're just not huge draws. People don't like when nice guys finish last in fighting. Nice guys finish last in fighting unless you're a complete knockout artist. So, yeah, I would assume those are old.
It's just all time.
Oh, all time.
Yeah, I was just curious what all time is.
That's another demon to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for Mighty Mouse, does he do the money fights? Does he do the big pay-per-view fights? Does he make the jump into the super fights, or does he stay in the flyweight division and take on Henry Cejudo again? My boy Joey Benavidez, Sergio Pettis. Those fights do nothing for me. And he just puts that record of most title defense so out of reach, it's not even funny. But in the grand scheme of things, looking back on history, let's say he fights for 10 more fights and 20 title defenses. It's not even close. Does the fight world actually care? And I'm not hating on him. I'm not trying to be a dick. I love Mighty Mouse. I'm just saying, ask yourself this, if you're a fight fan, do you actually care? And I would assume the majority, I think it'd be amazing. I would assume the majority, as far as the hype and stuff, that 20th title defense does not break records. As far as pay-per-view, huge numbers on Fox, whether at that time, if it were to come, it just doesn't. That's the world we live in. For him, for people to look back on his career, he's going to have to risk something. It's a bit of a bummer, but that's the world we live in. He's going to have to risk something and fight the winner of Cody versus TJ. He's going to have to fight maybe Dominic Cruz, his one loss. Mm. He's going to have to do something like that. So, again, it's he's the captain of that ship, and he's going to have to figure it out. I don't know. It might not be important to him. Maybe he's like, I am good, actually. The money I made off Xbox a while ago, the money I'm making now for outside the cage stuff and in the cage, I'm good, man. I'm smart with my money. I'm not going to risk going up fighting these monsters up there. What's the point? I'm the best of all time. But there's always going to be your naysayers. There's always going to be that. But I stand by it, man. The lighter weight classes just don't have the same danger as the other weight classes. So what John Jones was able to do at 205 pounds to some of these legends, and the way he got it done, and how dominant he was, and then when he did fight guys in the prime like Alexander Gustafsson, like DC, Daniel Cormier, like all those guys, he came out on top. Still, we saw him in trouble. The only time I've ever seen DJ in trouble in the last 11 fights was Tim Elliott. He kind of overlooked him. He was a bigger guy. He probably shouldn't have been fighting at flyweight. Really was a featherweight. So. Or bantamweight, sorry. But we've seen John in trouble. We've seen John get knocked down. We've seen, John get in his way and come back, be out a year and come back, and, all this crazy shit. But the pound-for-pound great got beat by the man in the mirror. That's the bummer. So you got DJ as the pound-for-pound great, and that's also why that was the greatest submission in UFC history, because it broke the record and just what it represented, and he did it against a guy who is a monster at grappling. That's why it's number one, because what was at stake. Moving on to the main event, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee. Good fight, man. It delivered. I thought it was so interesting how Kevin Lee came out and had staph on his chest. And, Rogan called it right away. That looked like staph. Anyone who's ever had staph, that is not a pimple, not ingrown hair. That was staph, homeboy. I thought it was so funny. Rogan's like, that's staph. And even I went, oh my God, I hope that's staph for sure, because Rogan, it's not going to be good if Rogan just assumes it's staph. But anyone who's had staph, that looked just like staph. Kevin Lee came out. He doesn't have a ton of experience at this high level and being main event, stuff like that. I thought he came out really emotional. I thought he looked good. He looked strong in those early rounds. His striking surprised me. He landed a lot of good shots on Tony. I thought, both of them are kind of slow starters. Tony's a bit of a slower starter. I thought Tony, that 11-month layoff, it took him a little while to get going. Once he started going, he started toying with Kevin, and he was dragging him into later rounds. I said this on last week's show. I think Tony Ferguson is the best lightweight on the planet. 10 in a row in the toughest division in the world. You look at his resume, the guys he's beat. Khabib hasn't beat the same guys and been as consistent as Tony Ferguson. You look at these monsters that he's beat and the consistency, and he's getting better every fight. I really think right now he's the best lightweight on the planet. And then people are going to go, well, what about Conor McGregor? Conor McGregor, I think, overall, because on the pound for pound list, Conor's going to be above Tony Ferguson, because Conor isn't, I don't consider Conor a lightweight. I consider him a money-weight. So wherever you want to put Conor, Conor can go to 170 and compete. He can go to 55 and compete. We see what I did at 45 of go out and box, So Conor is going to be, as far as overall fighters, going to be ranked higher than Tony Ferguson for a few reasons. But as far as straight up 55 body of work, there's no one better than Tony Ferguson. I thought Kevin Lee came out, put on a good showing. He's young as hell. He's only 25. This definitely in the last year to see from Kevin Lee. I think Kevin Lee's going to only get better. He's going to learn from this. This was a huge fight for him. Crazy young. So, I expect Kevin to go on and do great things. For Tony Ferguson, it's just his time. Kevin caught Tony at his very best time. So, I think, Kevin has a lot to learn. He's very emotional. He's going to come back. He's going to do great things. But with Tony Ferguson, 10 in a row, and you think about what's next for Tony. Tony, and it's always great when guys are themselves, so I'm not going to knock a guy for being himself. When they gave him the mic and he gets on there and goes, you fucking bitch, Conor McGregor, come fucking get some, you fucking whatever. He kept using that word and kept doing that stuff. Well, you realize no one can use that for promo. Fox can't use that. The UFC can't use that on a pay-per-view. We can't use that on the to hype in it. We can't use any of that to promote this. But I'm never going to knock guy for being himself because that's Tony Ferguson. He's not going to go out and do some kind of witty call-out stuff like that. But again, someone should have something, kind of, you want something we can hang on to. So what's next for Tony Ferguson? Well, Dana said the next fight for Tony Ferguson in the flyweight division would be Conor McGregor. Maybe if Conor wants to do that. Remember, Conor has all the power in the world right now. It does not matter what Tony, Dana, what anyone says. Conor's going to do exactly what he wants to do. He's the draw here. What do I think's the next fight? To be honest, again, are we looking at this from entertainment or are we looking at this as sport? Let's look at both here. So what's going to get more pay-per-view numbers? Probably Conor versus Nate. That's not some crazy assumption. I would assume Conor versus Nate. What fight makes more sense? Conor versus Tony Ferguson. And I think it's a good matchup for both of them. If Tony wants to, his wrestling could be some issues for Conor. Tony doesn't use a lot of his wrestling. He likes to stand, he likes to be unorthodox, he likes to hands down, does a lot of similar movement, very kind of loose, like water, Bruce Lee, like that's Tony Ferguson, and him versus Conor would be a great matchup. I think if marketed right, Tony Ferguson or Conor McGregor it's a better fight. I think Tony and Conor would be a better fight. I think there's more on the line. I think it's way more legit. I think you can go Tony Ferguson 10 in a row, the best lightweight on the planet versus Conor McGregor, the biggest superstar ever to fight in the UFC, who's also the 155-pound champ. Then you got Tony Ferguson, while Conor was out here doing work with Floyd Mayweather, was doing work inside the octagon. Then these two meet. I know every UFC fan would probably agree with me there that should be the next fight. Now, what do they do? I don't know how much WME, or I think they're called Endeavor now, or whatever the fuck they named themselves. I don't know how well they know the game. So they might go, well, what's going to be, we're going to be able to market better. I mean, obviously the Nate Diaz-Conor McGregor fight markets itself. Both are good at selling fights. We're very familiar with that fight. That fight's not going anywhere. And how many of these money fights do we want to see Conor take before you start doubting what's going on here? And you guys know me, I'm the biggest Conor dick rider in the world. But even me, it's time for him to defend the belt at lightweight. And I want to see him fight Nate Diaz too. I don't have a problem with that fight. That's fine if they want to do that. But how many of these are we going to do? Yeah. How many Fast and Furiouses are you going to give me? You know what I'm saying? How many comic book movies are you going to give me before I need some depth here, man. I need some legit shit. Not saying Nate Diaz isn't a legit fighter. Not saying it's not a tough ass fight for Conor. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what is right would be Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor. How much money do you think he would have to get paid to fight Ferguson or Diaz? Each of them would be different numbers. As far as Conor making money, it doesn't matter if it's Tony Ferguson or Nate Diaz. Conor's getting paid. Conor is the draw here. Whether he fights Tony, whether he fights Nate, is well over 1 million pay-per-view buys easily. Conor's contract can be figured out well before then. Mm-hmm. That's probably what they're doing now. Now he's going to get pay-per-view points, but either way, he's making crazy money. And again, if you're looking at it, let's say in this weird fight world, and remember, the fight gods don't give a fuck about your plans. So let's say in this weird fight world that we live in, Conor McGregor fights Nate Diaz. What if Conor were to lose that fight? It's a tough fight. Let's say he were to lose that fight. Well, then there goes Tony Ferguson. There goes that belt. And then Nate Diaz is going to go from 6 and jump all the way up, and then he fights Tony Ferguson. That'd be a fun fight. But then you're lose. But Tony Ferguson from Nate Diaz isn't a blockbuster. It's just not. It's a good fight. Great fight. Jesus Christ. Great fight. That's not the same as Conor Tony. Conor Nate. So the right thing to do would be Tony Conor. I don't think Nate Diaz is going anywhere. But again, I'm not going to complain if they make both fights. All I'm saying is how many money fights are you going to give us with Conor? This train can't go too far off the tracks. We got to get somewhat back to normalcy to get the division right. Because what do? Tony Ferguson didn't have a lot of injuries in that fight. Probably a little concussed. So let's say, he needs some time off. Let's say you do Conor versus Nate. Well, there's been no announcement. So let's say that fight happens in March. You're going to make Tony wait for how long? It's not the right thing to do. It's just not. I don't know what they're going to do. You know me. I usually like to predict things and make assumptions. I don't know. I know Dana said Tony Ferguson's next fight, will be against Conor for the belt, to unify the belts. Is that what Conor wants to do? What's Nate want to do? That's a great fight, though. Tony Conor's a great fight.
Yeah.
Great fight.
I think right now is a good time to make it, too.
Yeah. I think if you wait too long, then you're forced to do Nate Diaz-Conor. Because we all want to see that fight, too. We're familiar with that fight. If you wait too long, you miss out on this Tony Ferguson, the hype, him just beating Kevin. I think you got to see the numbers, too, on Tony Kevin. What I would do if I was the UFC, and some people are going to be pissed because they paid for the pay-per-view, I would release next week, fairly soon, that pay-per-view on free TV to build the hype of Tony Ferguson. It's a good card to build the hype of Demetrious Johnson.
Oh, you mean the one that they just did?
I play it for free. I play it for free the next 2 weeks before November 4th, before the huge card November 4th. I play it for free just so everyone can see this monster in Tony Ferguson. Obviously, you're going to have to edit the post-fight speech and all that, but whatever. Now Tony, is going around and he's going on the shows, and hopefully we get him on here. Who knows? He's in LA. I love Tony. He knows that. He's going on all the shows, and he's doing his thing, and he's saying he's the boogeyman who chased Conor wherever. I don't know if that's the play. If I'm Tony, I kind of force the UFC's hand. I go, I'm not doing shit unless I'm fighting Conor McGregor next. I've won 10 in a row. I'm the real champ. He ain't the real champ. I'm not doing anything. This division will be held hostage until I fight Conor McGregor. What are you going to do? Another interim belt? You ain't doing. No. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can do Eddie Alvarez, Gaethje as an interim belt? Okay. Well, freaking Conor knocked out Eddie Alvarez, so you can't give him an interim belt. Conor, you're going to have 3 belts now? Then you're not going to do shit. I'm not doing anything. I'm the real champ here. I'm making the calls. This isn't the Conor show. I am not doing anything till I fight Conor McGregor. What do you want to do? Your move, UFC. What do you want to do? You're just going to keep the division held up, keep doing these weird fights? I don't have time for that. I'm not doing anything till I fight Conor McGregor. And he should have a plan. I want this date. Conor, where you at? Meet me here. You're scared. Try to get Conor to retaliate. Say something. Him cussing at him, doing this stuff and saying, I'll follow you wherever you go, whenever you want to do this. Set a deadline, man. Set a date. Put some pressure on him. Be articulate about it. Be exact. Pinpoint. Force the UFC's hand. He needs to go, what are you guys going to do? Another money fight? What the fuck is that? I've won 10 in a row. He needs to throw some shade on the Nate Diaz-Conor fight and why we shouldn't be excited about it. Because right now, everyone in the fight world wants to see that fight. Why should we care about Tony Conor? I have 1 million reasons why you should care about Tony versus Conor. I'm sure Tony does too. He just needs to articulate it better. Instead of cussing, I'm chasing. You're not chasing Conor. You're the champ. You've won 10 in a row. Your body of work speaks for itself. You're the best 150 fighter on planet Earth. You don't chase anybody. Everyone's chasing you. How long have you worked to be here? The Ultimate Fighter winner. You beat everyone. Dos Anjos. Everyone, man. Let them come to you. You draw a line in the sand. Say no more money fights. Let's get back this order. Come get it. I'm Tony Ferguson. And I need new sunglasses. You're the champ now. Tony, let's get you some new sunglasses. I will take you sunglass shopping. If you come on the show, I will buy you any sunglasses you want. You can't wear those Cholo ones anymore, though. You can't wear those, Tony. I love you. You can't wear those sunglasses, though. I don't know if you got those from Eddie Bravo or what, but if you come on the show, we will take you sunglass shopping if you want some new ones. Any ones you want. Dior, whatever, man. Ray-Ban, You name it. We'll get you some new sunglasses. We'll go down to Abbott Kenny, get you some dope-ass sunglasses and a slice of pizza. Like the goddamn champion you are. But you got to come up with a game plan. You're not chasing Conor. You're not doing any of that. You don't care about money fights. You care about being the best 155er in the world. Go get it. There's an opportunity for him to get it. He just has to do it. What he's doing now, you watch these guys, what they're going to do. I'm like, God, I wouldn't do that if I was him. I wouldn't do that. But it's gotten this far. What do I know? What do I know? I saw a poll on, God, I hate when I can't reference. Maybe MMA Junkie. It might have been Luke Thomas. It might have been Luke Thomas. Love Luke Thomas's stuff. If you guys if you like MMA, anything associated with mixed martial arts, no one does better breakdowns as far as tactically or video breakdowns than, especially his YouTube, than Luke Thomas. He's been around the sport forever. He's been on this show. He's Big Brown Breakdown alumni. He's brilliant. I think he had on, he had a poll, or he tweeted the poll, I want to say, and it was, who do you guys want to see? Now, I don't know how many voted, but it was like 70% Tony Ferguson over Nate Diaz. Because the sport is, what have you done for me lately? Mm-hmm. Tony was out for 11 months. Khabib's not, like I said, Khabib's not even in this conversation. He's out. You got to fight, man. But to win 10 in a row at lightweight, the toughest division in the world, you go through, it's murderer's row, man. You got, look at this, just from 15 up is a nightmare. But let's just start with 7. You got Kevin Lee, Nate Diaz, Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez, Barboza, Khabib, Tony, Conor. Pick and choose who you want to see fight, man. Kevin Lee, Nate Diaz, great fight. Nate Diaz, Gaethje is a ridiculous fight. I don't know if Nate still wants those fights, if he just wants to fight Conor, but Nate Diaz versus Gaethje, are you kidding me? Then also you got Gaethje versus Alvarez coming up, and I love that fight. And shout out to Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is the nicest guy in the world, man. The fucking best. Just the nicest guy. I don't know what made me think of that, and then you got Barboza, who, if you look at those top guys, as far as pound for pound, striking, by far the best. Best striker, yeah. Lightweight, if not in all the UFC. As far as precise, accuracy, speed, quickness, Barboza's probably number 1. He's ranked number 3 in the world. You got Khabib. Who knows what's going on with Khabib. But yeah. So there you go, man. Man, yeah, I'd like to see a bigger pool of them trying to see what the people actually want. Like you need thousands to vote on it.
Do you want to just say it here then?
What do you mean?
Have
do a poll?
Big Brown listeners.
Where do we do it at?
Instagram?
But you can just put, I vote for Nate, I vote for Tony. You need them to click and it votes.
Oh, like an actual poll. You can
do it on Twitter.
Yeah. Twitter, you can do a poll.
We can make it happen.
I used to do it on my Instagram or my Twitter, right?
I don't use Twitter. Right?
We can do it on the TFATK page. We can set up something.
But you can do it on Twitter, I thought. You can go, who would you rather see fight? Yes or no? You can see, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I've seen people do it all the time. You can do it. I've seen Dalia do it, for God's sakes. You can see, you can put, who would you rather fight? Conor versus Tony, Conor versus Nate.
Yeah. Now,
I'm not advocating, I want both these guys to get the Conor fight. Mm-hmm. I'm not hating on anyone. If I'm just curious on where the lay of the land's at right now. And from the one poll I saw people want to see Tony, obviously because he's current, he's the actual champion, he's ranked number 1. And the matchup style wise, it's ridiculous. It's a great fight. But yeah,
you can create one on Twitter. So
yeah, you can do a poll.
We'll just create one and you can blast it out, I guess.
Yeah,
if you really want to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Once this show comes out, so people know what the fuck we're talking about, then I'll do it. So I'll do it, I don't know, tomorrow morning?
Cool.
Do it tomorrow morning. I'll have a poll up tomorrow morning. Just curious what you guys think. Wondering what the UFC thinks. Obviously, I have no idea. But yeah, it's going to be interesting what they're doing. Should we take a break now? Because we'll go into current events next.
Yeah, sounds good.
We back. Jim, some current events, Jen?
Yes, sir. How about we start with this one? So Tony Ferguson and Daniel Cormier have been going. This is funny because I saw the apology that Daniel Cormier did recently, and then this one just came out where Tony Ferguson and Daniel Cormier are going off on each other on Twitter, and you can go down to see these little storylines.
So it starts off. Tony says, "When you expect a face slap and your coach has too much respect to not touch your face, what the fuck, LL Mac to the chest?" Okay.
And then a fan wrote in.
Okay. The face you make when you run out of pizza rolls. When you run out. Okay.
So there's like a cartoon image.
And then Ferguson says, "It looks like DC. Fan says he'd ankle pick you." Okay.
Then Cormier responded,
"What's your deal?" Why is DC doing this? Dude, bro, you're an analyst, a goddamn pay-per-view analyst. Mm-hmm. She goes, "What's your deal?" And then Tony Ferguson says, "If you had a hard time with Khabib, what the fuck do you think all the haters are going to do with a guy like me? Fucking casual. Hashtag ankle pick." Okay. Once a hater, always a hater. I can see right through you, fake. At USA Wrestling for LG.
Some school.
Grand Valley State University. Okay. Then DC put, "What are you talking about, you weird idiot?" Again, if DC's going to be on the desk of UFC tonight, if he's going to be a commentator for the UFC, you can't really engage in this kind of schoolyard bullshit. Mm-hmm. Keep going. They put, "I don't like fake. I enjoyed your commentary at UFC 216.
Well, he also put at DCMMA, hashtag towel7, Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, where he...
Yeah, okay. He leaned on the towel.
And DC put, "If you would have listened, I told you that I thought what I thought would happen," at the same time saying that it's not what should happen, but would. And they put, "How am I fake? I have very limited interaction with you. I thought I called your fight to the best of my ability." I don't get why DC's even interacting with this.
So Tony's upset at DC for saying something on the broadcast that I don't even recall him saying.
What did he say?
Something about he shouldn't be able to get this done, and he was able to do it. I don't know. I don't even remember it.
I mean, again, fighters are super sensitive. So when I get it, man. Like if you have a commentator going this, and this, and you're Tony Ferguson, you've won 10 in a row. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I thought the commentating was very biased towards Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
I thought it was super biased for Tony Ferguson all the way around. Then DC, it ends on DC saying, at Tony XD, "You're an idiot, bud. Seriously, you're over here worried about me. Celebrate your accomplishments. God knows it's the biggest you have had." See, I don't think DC's winning any fans engaging in this. So Tony Ferguson just had, he's a champion right now, the legit champion, right? When he fights Conor, that to unify the belt. But for DC, for him going, "It's the biggest win you've ever had." DC, you just lost, brother. I'm a huge DC fan, but you're talking shit to a guy who's a legit champ. You just lost, man. Whether he's on PDs or not, we saw you get kicked in the face. So why would you? And also, you're an analyst. You're a fighter when you're fighting, but right now you're not fighting. You're an analyst. You can't. Can you imagine if Joe Rogan did this?
Uh-huh.
Can you imagine if John Anik did this? DC's the same as those guys. You're an analyst. You can't really engage in this kind of trash talk with an employee of the UFC.
And it was.
Can you imagine if Troy Aikman started talking shit through Twitter to name a quarterback, to Eli Manning? He'd be like, "What the fuck?" And then it's call his game.
Yeah. No, it always leads back to something bad. Just like when Goldberg engaged with someone, and then it just did not lead to anywhere good.
But also for DC, like, you're not going to win fans doing this.
And it was triggered just by a cartoon image. He goes, "This looks like him."
Yeah, just like, he looks like DC. And then
emojis like.
Then Tony felt attacked. Tony's so then Tony lashes out at him.
No, so Tony did that, and then DC.
Yeah,
said,
I know.
"What's going on with you?"
I know. I just don't get why. And then he goes, "You're an idiot. See you at Fox." All right, well.
That was pretty much it.
And Fox is too scared to say anything to DC, so they're just like, "Oh, that was crazy, man." Mm-hmm. Or they might like the interaction. I don't know. I think it looks tacky and amateur, and not on Tony Ferguson's part.
Yeah, that's just more. weird headlines that I saw today.
Strange. What else you got?
Okay, the next one is Ian McCall, alumni from Big Brown Breakdown. He got his release from the UFC, so he's a free agent now. And
did he do all his fights?
I don't know if he finished out his contract, but I don't think he finished out. They were okay with him leaving.
Yeah, because he had a lot of injuries, and I get it. It's probably best for both teams.
And he's been saying he wants to fight in other promotions, including Japan, or any place where he'll make a good amount of money, like $100,000.
But what happened to his injuries and his health issues, like with his brain trauma and all that stuff? Why you want to fight? So he goes, most people don't know I ended up in the hospital 6 times in the last year. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. And he thinks $100,000 is going to solve all of his problems?
I mean, at least he's saying that he wants to make at least $100,000 for his fights now. So that's something good, I guess. And the last time he was on MMA Hour, I saw this interview. The last time I saw him, he just did not seem there at all. He seemed really, really off. And he was going through that weird brain treatment where they were shocking his brain. So he apparently quit all that stuff. He's doing cannabidiol.
He admits taking a chance, but I didn't see him trying to find the right financial fit somewhere else. Working Jason Perillo. That's good. McCall says he's happy and healthy. That's all that matters. It's just a business move. I'm just trying to go out here and trying to cause a little ruckus. I don't know. We'll see how it works. This could fail completely. I'm not stupid. I've been part of it. A lot of business ventures have failed. Life is worth risking, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. And it's nothing on Ian McCall, Uncle Creepy. Everyone knows I love him, but he. I don't know if there's a demand at that weight class to make $100,000. I don't know. Maybe in Ryzen or that ACB or the hell it's called over there in Chechnya or something like that.
Yeah.
Then he put they're talking about that Chechnya fight league. He goes, people say you don't care that's blood money. I don't give a fuck that it's blood money. You can pay me in blood diamonds. I get in a cage and fist fight for money. I don't care. I don't live there. Of course, what Kadyrov is doing is wrong. I don't agree with it and would say it to his face. Probably shouldn't if you're going to fight out there. But it's not my business. My business is go over there and fist fight. That's it. Sure, war is bad and guys like that do evil shit, but I don't care. He's obviously going to get some shit for this, but I don't condone what Ian is saying here. When you say you don't care, but I don't think he cares where the money comes from. He's just trying to do what's best for his family, and him fighting over there, whether he fights over there or not, that evil dictator's going to do what he's going to do is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like me fight, I have nothing. Just give me my goddamn money. I don't give a fuck where it comes from.
Yeah.
Pay me what I need to fight so I can make ends meet. I don't think he's condoning the work of the Chechen government, all that. Yeah, I don't know if the 100-day payday's out there for that weight class. I hope so. I hope it works out for him. I love Ian. What else you got?
I think you'll dig this. Gokhan Saki is going to fight Khalil Roundtree.
Love Khalil.
At UFC 219. Is that I have no idea how that could turn out because Khalil's relatively new, right?
He's new. Newer, but he's been training for a while. But he has some good wins in the UFC. This is what is weird. He has back-to-back knockout wins. Paul Craig and Daniel John.
Oh, yeah. He knocks people out big time.
Yeah. So December 30th in Las Vegas. It's a great card. And I will always watch Gokhan Saki fight. This was my only problem when I saw this fight get announced. The UFC put stand.n.bang Khalil versus Saki. It's like, is that really the message we want to do? Because Khalil has the skills. He's a mixed martial artist. Saki's not. He's a striker. Khalil has the skills to take him down, to grapple. So if I'm Khalil, I'd take him down and submit his ass. Now, I know the UFC's hoping he stands and bangs, which when I saw that, I was like, ugh. That makes me feel nasty. Whoever's running that social media account, it's just tacky, man. It's just stand and bang. No, you're setting our sport back 5 years by posting bullshit like that. No, just announce it. It's one hell of a fight. No one's forced to stand and bang. Khalil is a mixed martial artist. He could actually go in there, take him down right away. He might trade with him a little bit to just walk to the octagon and both be, root our feet in the ground and just punch each other in the face. That's not sport. That's not mixed martial arts. Stand and bang. Ugh. That was disgusting. Please don't post that. Fun fight, though. But no one's going to stand and bang like a moron. It's 2017, for God's sakes. The sport's evolved so much more than that. I just don't like to see that.
Do you think they're trying to put it into Khalil's head? Like they know that they want him to know that that's what they want?
We know this. I don't need them to tell guys to stand and bang. You go stand and bang with Saki. Whoever tweeted that. You go fucking do it. Khalil's a mixed martial artist. For Saki, that's the only way he's going to win. He has to pray to God that Khalil decides not to use any of his other skills and just trade with him, which is silly. And I love watching Saki fight, and if they give another stand-up fighter who's gonna play that game with him, great, and I'll tune in. But this isn't 2012. You can't just be a striker and get away with it in the octagon anymore. And I don't want to see that. If you want to be taken serious, it's mixed martial arts. It's a fun signing. Is he going to have a career in the UFC? No. It's a fun signing. You have to give him the right matchups. But if Khalil decides to take him down, this fight's won't get out of the first round. If Khalil decides to stand and bang, it won't get out of the first round. But I like both guys, and like I said, I'll always watch Saki fight. But there's no longevity in the sport for this guy. You're gonna have to baby him throughout his career. How long are you gonna do that? How long are we gonna do this? The CM Punk stuff, the Saki. What are we doing here? It's fun, and I like to watch it, but please don't encourage guys to stand and bang. Take 2 baths. What else you got?
All right, this is a little controversial. Not that one. This one. Okay, so Jason Aldean, who was the guy that was singing on stage during the Vegas attacks, he's a country singer. Dana White,
very famous country singer,
yes. super popular country singer. Yeah. I'm guessing a lot of people don't listen to country. I don't know why, but
yeah, okay.
All right, so Dana White invited him over to sing the national anthem at the UFC 216 that just passed, and according to Dana, Aldean's team said that they can't do it because he's not even sure if he wants to ever sing live again, because of what happened. And that same day that he was supposed to sing, Aldean went to sing on SNL. So it was rough. Like it would have been roughly the same time that he was going to sing for the UFC. He actually sang for SNL. So Dana is really pissed off about that. He even said, like, stay out of Vegas. You're not going to sing here for all the people that were there for you, the first responders, people that attended your concert that were at the UFC that day.
Yeah, I mean, I get both sides here. So if I'm Dana, obviously he has strong roots in Las Vegas. He's pretty hurt by it, so he's going to lash out at Jason Aldean. For Jason Aldean, does he do a tribute song on Saturday Night Live, or does he just not acknowledge the shooting or anything?
Well, he sang that song by Tom Petty, "Don't Back Down." We won't back down.
And dedicate it to Las Vegas?
That has to be for Las Vegas. We're not going to back down.
That probably gets... I see what Dana's saying, because, hey, we have the first responders here. We have people who are actually there and affected by the shooting. Perform for them, because that's what's happening. And then Jason Aldean's going, well, I can do Saturday Night Live. I'm going to get it, 3 million views, and I can do it there too. But also, I was just in Vegas. There's a horrible shooting. I don't want to go back there. I see both sides of the party.
Yeah.
Business-wise, if I'm Jason Aldean's team, I would say go to Saturday Night Live. You can get more eyeballs. You can make a bigger effect. People are going to see it. It's also a tribute to Tom Petty, who just passed away, and you can dedicate it to the Vegas fans. And it's Saturday Night Live, which is much bigger than any UFC. I see why both parties are upset.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
What else you got?
All right, how about the one I just showed you? So Dana White, he says that the Cyborg Holly Holm deal is almost done, and it could be for 219.
It's December 30th. Yeah, hopefully they get it done, because He goes, yeah, I think we'll get done. It's not done yet. I can never predict what's going to happen, but I think we'll get done soon. Yeah, because, you see Cyborg on social media, kind of throwing some shade. That's what she does with her social media. I hope they get it done. It's such a good fight. I really, really hope they get it done. December 30th would be perfect. I bet they get it done. I'm not sure what kind of demand Cyborg's making, but hopefully it's nothing too crazy. Cool. What else you got?
Let's go here. This has been going viral in the MMA world. So this guy kicked his opponent while he was on the ground and KO'd him. So I'll just see this. Let me go to his official Instagram.
This is him?
Yeah, so the guy on the bottom. So he KO'd him from
sweet.
the bottom. Yeah.
I haven't seen that. That's pretty sweet.
Cool.
Shout out to...
It's in Kuwait somewhere.
Wawan MMA?
Yeah.
WAWAN MMA.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
This is a really, really scary one. There's a pancrase event in Japan, and this guy who's weighing in, his team had to carry him onto the scale. I'll show you a little bit of it, but basically he's basically dead on his feet. And then I'll fast forward a little bit. So he wasn't able to make the first one because they're carrying him, essentially.
He should not be fighting.
No.
Anyways, my Lord.
They couldn't weigh him in that time, so he came back, and they actually had him where he was balancing on his own for just a second.
Oh, my God.
See right there?
Is he falling asleep?
He's weak as hell.
Oh, my God.
And they give him a thumbs up like, all right, he weighed in, and they have to carry him off stage. Look how bad this guy is.
Jesus. That's the worst weigh-in I've ever seen.
Yeah. And they let him fight. I don't know if he fought yet, but...
Looks like he lost. And he has two fights left on his contract. Jesus Christ. Ugh, that's sickening. Yeah, I don't know. The commissions, they let Kevin Lee fight with staff. They're just... It's a business, man. It's unfortunate. New York doesn't play that shit, though. Bring that dude up in New York, and he ain't making anything.
I don't think he would have made it anywhere else other than...
I don't think so.
Place.
Yeah, you never know. Vegas is pretty tricky, meaning they don't give a fuck, but you never know. New York not happening. California not happening. Is that it?
Hold on. Honey Jason? Do you remember Honey Jason, the guy that wore the Jason mask?
Yes, I do. Did he win Tough Brazil?
I think he did win,
That's
yeah.
Right.
So he's on video assaulting a woman.
What?
So, well, you can't see it here in the video, really. I'll show you the video real quick. See, there's a woman on the ground, and then he's on top. So they pull him off. Why would he do that? And now he's yelling at her.
Jesus Christ.
And there's another one here. She's on the ground, and he's yelling at her. Turns out that's his sister.
Was she, like, hammered or something?
No idea other than...
What's it say?
Investigated.
And that was his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh. Yikes. Woman be attacked by Jason as his sister. Women's Protection Police Commissioner told the outlet the case is being investigated. Okay. Scroll down.
Nothing about arrested, but investigated.
Scroll down. Has been released.
Though he was already released from the UFC, yeah.
Word.
That was just a statement from UFC.
Oh, suffering 3 losses. Yeah. The UFC's like, yeah, we have nothing to do with it. Yeah, what can you do? Boom.
Boom.
I mean, what can you do? I mean, he's obviously not good, but he's also not in the UFC. Also not a well-known fighter. For sure don't hit your sister like that, though, especially when there's video.
Who knows what happened, though?
I know, man. Who knows? Who knows, Chin? Who knows, MJ? Who fucking knows, guys?
I don't know.
That's it. That is it. I am in LA doing stand-up at the Hollywood Improv this month. I forget the exact date. I will have dates for you guys, but it's on my Instagram, social media. I'm at the Hollywood Improv doing stand-up. I'm at the Comedy Store at the end of the month doing stand-up. And then November 3rd, I am in Calusa Casino doing stand-up. And then at the end of the month in November 30th, I am in the Inland Empire in Ontario Improv. Tickets, tfatk.com. I love you guys. Thanks for listening as usual. Bigger, browner, badder. I'm out.